morning. Good morning. Welcome to Tea and Conversation Live this morning. Yes, thank you so much for joining me. We're in our second season, Tea and Conversation Live. And I have with me this morning my great sister, the Queen of Tampa, Connie Burton, Sister Connie Burton. And I want to say before I bring her in, because we're going to have an amazing conversation this morning, that we've had several great political forums. We all know city council, city council candidates. I think just about everyone qualified for that seat, and that is District 5 here in the city of Tampa. And all of them have been just amazing. The audience has been really, really informed about each one of the candidates if you were listening and taking notes. I want to say that NAACP has their community forum on Monday. That is this coming Monday. Doors open at 5:30 p.m. The forum starts at 6 p.m. and that's at Middleton Senior High School, 4801 North 22nd Street. You want to make sure you get there early. It always brings a crowd. So you definitely want to get there early, get yourself positioned so that you can hear the candidates that will be speaking at that forum. Without any more on that, I'm going to go right into it. I have my sister, Connie Burton. How you doing, sis?
Peace and blessings. I'm just wonderful this morning, sister. I wake up thanking Creator and the ancestors for another day, so I'm good in charge.
Yes. You're looking lovely this morning. I tell you that you're looking lovely. I had a chance to give you a big old hug this past week, and you're looking real good, and you're getting healthy and healthier because I know you always have been healthy and trimming on down. Those that know you know how important it is when you step in a room. I mean, they turning heads lately, so I just want to put it out there because you're looking so beautiful. You're looking so beautiful. But thank you so much for joining this morning. I wanted to ask Connie because I hear so much conversation at at the political forums about Resolution 568. And I was thinking, after hearing so many people say something about it at the forums, who would be best to talk about it? Connie Burton. Let me call Sister Connie Burton. And I want to talk about that because I don't think most of the candidates have their information on 568, because whoever win that seat, we're going to have to continue to talk about it. And I'm hoping that it's not going to be just continue talk about it until our mayor is out of that seat. So I want to just go right on in on 568. If you can give us first some history of Resolution 568.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, sister. I always appreciate and definitely have the utmost respect for you, as a leader, and love you, like a sister. You has been just a good ally, good friend to me. So 568 came about during the unfortunate murder of brother George Floyd. Many cities, council persons, mayors, elected officials began to take a deep dive and kind of look at things that was going on in their community as it related to African Americans that got us to this horrendous point that an African man could be murdered in broad daylight under the guise of some type of police activity or work.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, don't know if it was meant to be just a ceremonial thing that people start making, like declarations, some type of
Mm-hmm.
reflect saying, These are the things that we know our city and under our leadership has been responsible for. And also, this was during the period of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
20, our city council member then, Orlando Goose,
Mm-hmm.
put together this document called Resolution 568. It was presented to the community, to the council. I remember going down to the convention center because,
Mm-hmm.
we have a lot of space. We couldn't be in close proximity of each other. So we would go down there to the convention center because that's where they was holding city
Meeting.
council at that time. And I remember Orlando Goose talking about this resolution 568 and the adoption and agreeableness by the council members to adopt the terms of the 568
Mm-hmm.
unanimously, saying that this council was going to take responsibility first in apologizing for all past harms and hurt that had been done to African Americans in this city, and that the city would put together a
Mm-hmm.
the creation of a reconciliation commission
Mm-hmm.
for the studying and developing proposal to redress the enduring negative effects of this institution of slavery.
Mm-hmm.
So they said everything that happened then up to current, the council says we want to take responsibility and we want to create a commission so the commission will be able to come back and share with the council things that we can do to bring a positive. How can we repair the damage done to African Americans in this city? The document also laid out, I mean, it was very clear. This wasn't written by the community, although we all could have went and said things that we had encountered or we heard our
Mm-hmm.
parents encounter regarding, redlining, unequal education, uh, the criminal justice system, how we have been brutalized and disadvantaged, and and in the document it says that these policy was knowingly developed that was bringing harm to Black people. It didn't
Mm.
say to all people, it said specifically to Black people. So I remember getting a copy of the document. Like I said, it was during the period of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I raised a few questions then, and in the shuffling of trying to just resolve other issues of how we was going to get through the pandemic, it kind of got lost in the conversation.
Okay.
We also know that the councilman that put this document together ran into some serious issues with the mayor. He was unfortunately he lost his seat
Mm-hmm.
uh, in the upcoming election after 2020, and so we wasn't able to continue under his leadership to see the formation of how we can really put Resolution 568 in clear effect.
Okay, Connie, on that note, in 2020, did everything when city councilman lost his seat, did everything go on hold at that point?
As it relates to 568, it was kind of like, in my opinion, a document that had just been written and it was unalive. There
Okay.
was no motion, no activity, no discussion, anything regarding 568. And it was up to the community, uh, to unbury, find the document, to start reading it, so we can make the concept of the document become
Okay. I just want to ask that question there in reference to,
so.
did
You
it
know,
stop at that point? And
one of the things that I did, sister, is that I could tell you I just have just a basic education. Didn't go to no
mhm,
college, not a member of no degrees, definitely not a part of any of the, elitist organizations.
mhm,
But I started just reading, and even when I ran into some things that I wasn't clear, I grab a Webster dictionary in a minute. I was seeking counsel from other people, trying to ask them, like, what is your interpretation of this document? I went out and made copies of the document, out of my own pocket. I mean, I had about 10 copies at home that was all ruined from different highlighters, just trying to see, well, how can this be? And we don't see no action as a result of this resolution. And so then I started going down to city council, just raising, y'all signed and had the clerk of the court, your clerk, your executive city clerk file and document this. It was signed by, the chairman at the time was Guido Maniscalco. And so I said, it's a live document. So in my 3 minutes of community public comments, I started attempting to dissect the documents and informing the council that in the decisions that they were making per city business, the city council agenda that was disseminating millions of dollars every week, how did 568 relates to the decisions that it was making? And, you know, I began to, like I said, share the document, share with other people, uh, pretty much started getting people to start buzzing about 568 until about 6 months ago. I believe it was during the Black History presentation that Louis Vieira was on a podcast with the president of the NAACP, Yvette Lewis, and she asked him to commit to the creation of the committee, the creation of a committee, and Louis Vieira agreed to it. The following week, he went in front of his board, the city council board, and they voted unanimously to set up a 13-member committee to, again, study and bring proposals back to the council on how to deal with the egregious treatment and the brutality suffered by African people back to the council. And so we've had 6 subject matters that we were to deal with. I didn't agree in the formation of how, the committee was going to be formed, or either members that was going to be selected on the committee. That was not my choice, nor did I have power to deal with that. Each council person selected who they wanted to be a part of that council. And so we have moved accordingly. We ran into a lot of bumps because I don't believe some of the members that was on the council came as a result of having an understanding what 568 was about, but was merely appointed by a council person that was honoring that relationship. So we ran into quite a few speed bumps. The city has not been forthcoming as it should be to help move this process along. I can tell you that if we're talking about an apology since the formation of this city, and this city is acknowledging harm and hurt that it has done to African people since slavery up to the present, then it's going to take more than just 6 working sessions for us to develop real sound and holistic proposals to move us forward.
Can you mention who the persons are that are on the committee?
Um, well, I might miss up some names, but it's 13 members. And most of these people are supposed to be there representing organizations. So we have about 3 or 4 members that is representing the clergy. I know Reverend Thomas Scott is a member. Reverend Sutton is a member. Dr. Jeffrey Johnson is a member. They're representing the CDC. Robin Lockett, Robert Blunt is there, representing A. Brown Ministries. We have Cheryl Rodriguez, a former professor from USF. We have a young lady that I can't think of her name now, was the former president of the Urban League. Fred Hearns is there. Daryl Heights is there representing the Black Chambers. And of course, myself. So this committee has met on 6 different occasions. And what I have objected to from the very, very beginning is that in the formation of this commission, the language has changed from the original document of 568 to now a resolution 344 that talks about not the harm and damage done to African Americans, but talk about how making Tampa into a beloved city. And so I would say it has been to try to master a shell game, our eyes wide open. You haven't resolved the things that you say are the harms that brought us here. I can get to a beloved city, but first I got to heal from the damages done to Black people. When you say in the original document that you know based on your policies and the collaboration with others that led to high incarceration of Black men and women in our community. And I could tell you, I could see it so clearly just based off of my experience of living in public housing for 20 years and witnessing then those that was moving up in a ladder in the police department, how our community was under confinement, similar to what you see in Washington, D.C. That early in the mornings when we had no reason for the police to be in Robles Park housing development, the police was always stationed on every corner. So if you was walking to the store, you was subject to being stopped by the police. If you was coming in and visiting someone, you was going to be stopped by the police. Young Black men that simply had a misdemeanor amount of marijuana in their possession, watched these charges were enhanced to become felony charges. People was constantly trespassed. Then we go into biking while Black and walking while Black and driving while Black to written while Black. And I see the same 2 administrators, whether it was Jane Castor in the police department or Buckhorn that was the then acting mayor. So I can see how, it was not a hard document to pull together. Orlando Goose himself was a former police officer.
Mm-hmm.
So his experience in seeing all of that play into action, the fact that we have, inadequate housing then, and we still have it today. The promises that was made um, with the demolition of College Hill and Ponce de Leon, and then Central Park Village, and all of the discussions of how this was going to bring thousands of jobs into the city. It did, but it eliminated Black participation.
Mm-hmm.
That,
Mm-hmm.
if a Black contractor got a space, and I don't know to what percentage, I can tell you that Black labor force has been excluded. You go
Mm-hmm.
around these high um, developments, and you would see, non-Black people with all the jobs.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, and then when you look at those that have been able to return back into the development, it has been a very selective process that that calls for a high qualification. What is your credit history? What is your rental history? What
Mm-hmm.
is your criminal history? Now they're gone even a step further, that now you see in future developments that is being, put on the table now, that there has excluded the ability of large families to move back into East Tampa. So
Yeah.
now we have developers that's coming in asking for financial assistance from funding that comes to the CRA to help them in their visions in becoming uh, beyond entrepreneurs. They want to become developers. So they don't come with all of their money, but what they do come and ask the Community Redevelopment Board is to give them, some of them is asking up to $5-9 million. And then when you look at what they're developing, it excludes the ability of large families to come back into the community, because now they are only 1 and 2 bedroom sizes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
all of this, it is not by coincidence. It is a control mechanism. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
some people say I shouldn't say it is part of, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
a genocide campaign. It's almost in reference to
Mm-hmm.
back in the day when, my grandmother, I could see it real clear. We used to have to hide my grandfather's clothes in the pantry,
Mm-hmm.
put some bike uh, wheels on top of it, because the social worker might not want to go back there and shuffle through all of that to see what was in those boxes. So that's what we hid, his clothes.
Mm-hmm.
That the men's had to be removed out of the house for the family to have, say, decent housing, or have some type of food allowances, right? And so now we're seeing that with these qualifiers or qualifications that is laid out as to if you have a husband or mate, because I know two women, white women in particular, don't have to be married, but if they got good credit, they can get an apartment, right? But the same is not the case with you and your mate coming in, because of these additional hoops that we have to jump, thereby not creating
Mm-hmm.
strong families in our community, because either the omission of keeping the man's name off the lease, or keeping the man out of sight. So
Mm-hmm.
all of these things is being done to the community. while on one hand, people will talk about the need for good family structure under this leadership. And I'm not just singling out this mayor because it is part of a pattern.
Mm.
It is a pattern that when you don't see advocacy coming from Black voices that know better, i.e. the housing authority, Black men in leadership, that the Black church in leadership that know better, that will say a resolution at 568 need to be taken serious. It's almost like somebody telling you on your first date they love you.
Mm.
We know love is an action verb, a noun. You know, it has to be developed into something. Love has to be developed. This resolution has to be developed. And when people refuse to lend in support into developing how we gonna address the past harm and hurt up to the present of African people, it tells me a lot about who they are.
Mm. Wow. Let me go back because I've been sitting here taking notes. I have a whole a page and a half of notes. What were some of those subject matters that you were not so in favor of? Because if you have been, and Sister Connie Burton, you have been a voice in this community. I know you and I have been friends now, uh, like sisters, for over 20 years. And I'm always subject sometime of, who are placed on some of these committees, why are they placed on some of these committees? And I know that, prior to them being on certain committees, they're not even speaking out on the committees that they're already on. So what are some of these subject matters that I think you said there was 6
Yes.
that was put into place that you may not have been favored of?
Mm-hmm. Well, the 6 subject matters, I think, it's 2 parts to my response.
Yes, ma'am.
6 subject matters were good subject matters, but people at the table, I don't know if they would be able to address the subject matter. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we had one, well, they should have been, they should have been, considering that they come and they were selected based on either community service or being connected to where monies are always being sought to help the poor.
Mm-hmm.
So we had returning citizens, which was something that we know is very, very high on the radar in the Black community.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the former state attorney, Mark Ober, once said that Hillsborough County was number 1 in the nation.
Correct.
Number 1. Hillsborough County, little old Hillsborough County was number 1 in the nation for the adjudication of juveniles into the adult system.
Mm-hmm.
When I heard that, sister, it felt like it had stabbed me 1,000 times because it meant that our children and Black boys in particular would never have a chance.
Right.
Would never.
Yeah.
You get criminalized. It's bad. It's harmful enough that you're the first fired and the last hired as a Black man. But now get a criminal charge and see where that's going. So we had returning citizens, youth opportunity, history, affordable housing, economic development, and one more I can't think off the top of my head, but 6 subject matters. And the way things have been so hijacked, this is the problem we was having with the city, that you could talk about affordable housing, but if you start talking about affordable housing for first responders, and now you talk about affordable housing because people that's making $120,000 a year can't find no place to live in the city of Tampa. That's not what I'm there to fight for. I'm there to fight for poor and working class people. But now you've turned the wheel because now you want to talk above the people head and exclude the original people according to this document, the intent of 568. When you want to tell me that you want to talk about returning citizens, but you don't have the city of Tampa and its allies. And when I say ally, I mean everybody that the city spends money with on a weekly basis. You can't come and bring us a report to tell us, and we know the city can't hire everybody, but if the city is doing business with business A, B, C, and D, then they should be able to provide us a report to show us that these people are getting city taxpayers' money. How are they with their hiring of returning citizens? If you can't show us, what are you trying to do to preserve the history of our people outside of just markers, indicators that once upon a time this was here, and you got the Jackson House that then fell apart. You got Zion Cemetery over there that you can't do anything with. You won't invest in that. Then that tells me, a lot. So the subject matters was not bad. The issue is that the city refused to bring experts from their department that can show us what have you done, because then that would help us in developing a proposal saying, well, you only did 3, but by 2026, we would like to see 35 and, on and on and on. So it was almost like pulling teeth without Novocaine, trying to get the city to respond. So, and I would also like to make it clear that resolution 568 was never supported by the mayor. She never supported that resolution. But the one that talked about resolution that they adopted 344 about a city sitting on the hill and the city of Tampa being a lamp for everybody to tie their, no. She was in full support of that, because then again, it jumps through, it bypassed the pain and the harm and the hurt that redlining did to our community. That people had property that was undervalued. People still have property in our community that could be brought up to value. Young people will see hope in preserving grandmother's house if they could get the same type of financial assistance that developers can walk through the door and get. I remember Domain Homes, somebody we had never heard of before. The CRA had to relinquish prime real estate, to give to developers that was building homes that if you go and knock on the doors now where those homes are located in the African community, very few African owners. Okay. Just like recently the city gave interest-free loans for 100 years. Can you imagine somebody tell you you got an interest-free loan for 100 years? What you could do if you could go inside of a bank and say, hey, look here, I got the property. Ain't no interest on that property. So let us develop something.
Mm-hmm.
What
Mm-hmm.
the Funland Drive-In is another clear
Yes.
example
Clear
that
example.
they receive monies from the city, and it ain't like the city got a money tree. They receive taxpayers' money, but in the development of um, that development, there's only six 3-bedroom units.
Only
Six,
six.
six, SIX. Out of the whole development, only six 3-bedroom units. So what do that tell me about children and large families being welcome over there? And I think the minimum income that you have to have is around $60,000. So I don't know how many set aside units they have for, and I know in our community, and I can only speak of myself because I'm of that age now that I can get a Social Security check. I don't know too many African Americans that worked, that have pension, the retirements, and then Social Security collectively that would make them eligible to move over there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Most of the jobs that's been centered and available for Black people, the creation of the Black middle class came around in the 60s where people was able to go and work for city government, might have been able to get some, upscale warehouse jobs. I'm thinking about a Westinghouse, Fletcher Glass,
Mm-hmm.
Honeywell, or something like
Honeywell.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to go and work for the city. But most of the people in our community had what was available for them,
Mm-hmm.
and in their season of retirement. And even if you look at now how undeveloped the community is with the lack of any type of manufacturing jobs,
Mm-hmm.
jobs now centered in East Tampa. It's going to be around restaurants, Walmart, Ross, stores such as that. And that
Mm-hmm.
don't mean necessarily, Popeyes, that you're going to be the one that get hired. And
Right.
so when they're talking about all of this vast improvement in the community, it has all been BS. What it has meant, though, is that there are those in our community that need the poor, that always
Mm.
poor to be in the circumference of when they're talking about development.
Yeah.
When I think about how District 5 was extended beyond Columbus Drive, and then it went to Channel Side, and it went to downtown, I'm thinking about all of the benefits that came as a result of those developers that was able to get special taxing privileges,
Mm-hmm.
was able to participate in enterprise zone, all of that stuff that we don't
Yes.
know, but it was to their benefit and not
Yes.
the
Yes.
community. Because when you look at now, even over there at Tampa Park Apartments, that was
Mm-hmm.
once Tampa Park Apartments, all of the development by St. Peter Claver.
Flavor.
You
Mm-hmm.
get now at um, the land that was once Central Park Village. I can find the
Mm-hmm.
tiny spots where Black people now are able to live there, but right there on Nebraska and Scott, a big old, look like a 5-6 story hotel is being built there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you got one apartment complex over there where the rent is running around $3,200 a month. So all of that has been designed for the benefit of developers to come in under the guise of eliminating blight, and which it did. but it also eliminates the people. It also eliminates Black people. But even when elderly people are being brought into development, it is with a small proportion of Black people. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think we have a duty and a responsibility of pushing the resolution 568. It is no different than the Emancipation Proclamation. It has been no different than when people said, we're going to end slavery, but then they turn around and put into the 13th Amendment that if you commit a crime, you are now slaves of the state. It is for
Mm-hmm.
us to read with some understanding and some discernment and with some full courage of saying that we're going to push back, that we are not going to just sit back idly and watch them dismantle any and everything that Black folks have worked hard for. We're
Mm-hmm.
not going to say that we are going to live. I'm not going to say, I can speak for myself, that I'm not going to live in a society quietly while white people and white administrations declare what's best for me without my voice being in the midst of it. I have a responsibility to myself and to our future generation of Black people of showing not only will we say we're Black and proud, but we show that we're Black and proud. That if
Mm-hmm.
we're living in a period right now, sister, that if they want to run it off the rail, let them have it. But we're responsible for ourselves. We're
Mm-hmm.
responsible for holding our network together. We're responsible for developing and protecting our children so they can see the greatness of our people. That's
Yeah.
our responsibility.
Yes. 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 I want to. We have a number of comments in the comment section. Brother Herbert Floyd, while these truths and facts, I don't have words to express my thoughts and opinion and feeling. Thank you so much, Herbert Floyd. We had a number of people that chimed in this morning, Connie, and a number of people that watched us, watch you. I mean, just lay it out for us this morning. I just have one more question. This was extremely informative this morning. You're listening to Candy Low, 10 Conversation Live with my sister Connie Burton. We have an election coming, District 5 City Council, and Erlene Terrell says, well said, Sister Connie Burton as well, is how do you feel about this historical seat that has always been Black and could possibly have a different race in this seat? How does that resonate in your mind that that seat may not be an African American person in that seat?
Well, I think what we're seeing that's happening, say, like in Washington, D.C., where Donald Trump has now told people to go and find him either more votes or more congressional seats because people want to keep a
Mm,
pattern. When I see now the refusal of city government to spend money inside of District 5 to the most vulnerable to help them create a better foundation for their lives, whether that foundation is a better housing conditions, stabilizing our housing, building so we can have generational wealth, the refusal to, develop a summer youth job program. We asked for
mm,
72 children. I think they maxed at 54, and that was pulling teeth without Novocaine, constantly staying on top of them to get to that point. When I look around and see how now the district has expanded with development everywhere, that means that in those places, those people that can pay $500,000 for housing is also going to be people that can vote.
Mm-hmm.
I can almost pretty much imagine that there's going to be a lot of non-Black people that end up in those apartments that have voting rights.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not even going to say, I can't measure people by their heart. I don't even work on that premise. I go by their action.
Action. Yes, sis.
I go by their action. And what I see in the forecast is that we have never been able to get, I think one time, a citywide person elected to a position.
Correct.
Never. I mean, we got one Black person over at the county commission. Got one Black representative at the school board, and we have one Black representative at city council. We have never been able to get a Black sheriff. That's a voting position. The clerk of the court is a voting position. State attorney, public defenders, those are voting position. Property appraisal, on and on and on. So that little marginal era of representation is slowly going because now the masses of Black people have been pushed into the county. The county is where Black folks is having to find suitable housing. And so I can see maybe 2 voting cycles from now that we will not have any representation. I don't think, like I said, I feel it in my heart. I don't even know who our allies are at this time because people go based on their interests. That's why people can silently criticize Donald Trump and privately applaud him for the things that he's doing, because there has not been an emergence of let's get him out of office. He's ruining the country. He's hurting race relations. He's doing all these terrible things, banning books. He's over 300,000 Black women have lost their jobs. I don't hear that outcry. So it's going to be us to dig in, whether we have a representative on that diocese or not. Our Black voices cannot be silent. We got to be of the same determination that our ancestors had, that even when we did not have representation, and even sometime when we have a Black face in high places, they're either too afraid or self-absorbed in their own dealings that they can't do something for the masses of the people. I have problems all the time, and I'm not shy in saying it, that for the likes of me, you take something like the housing authority that hold the bucket of thousands of Black lives in their hands, and I can't, point to the formation of Black businesses, Black home ownership, the expansion of Black students going to college over the 25 years that Black faces at the housing authority has been in control. 25 years, Jerome Ryans and Leroy Moore has been in charge in helping to develop and create. And what I do know is that when they built houses over there in Belmont Heights Estate and they was infested with Chinese drywall, it took them over 10 years after the pushing and the leadership of Ken Hagan, the Republican, to make them do the right thing. That's what I know. And Les Miller was on the county commission, and Frank Reddick was our city council. So having a Black face representation is good, only if they're motivated to fight for Black people.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot be left out of the mix. And when we have endured such harm and pain, and what we are asking for is not something that is brand new, that this country has always delivered. I see it now that there's a segment of people in the city of Tampa that don't have to come to the city council week after week to
Mm-mm.
talk about
Mm-mm.
development for their community.
Mm-mm.
It's when they don't want it to develop, then they come down there. If
Then
they
they
don't
come.
want no more
Mm-hmm.
people over there, that's when they come.
Mm-hmm.
Their roads stay clean. Their roads stay built up. Their children walk out their door every morning and don't have to imagine what they can be.
At
If they
all.
want to open up a Planet Fitness, then they go one. If they want a bank, they go 10. If they want to be chiropractors, they're 3. If they want to be plumbers, they go 15 trucks. They children know. Our children has been denied that opportunity. And it is for the correct courage of Black men and women, aunties, uncles, everybody to push this wagon up the hill. This ain't no Connie Burton thing. This was written, it was signed off. Guido Maniscalco. If you ain't got you a copy of 568, go on the city website, find it, read it for yourself. That's what they said they done to us in the past and in the present, that the policies was written overtly and covertly. That means with knowledge, without knowledge, to bring harm to Black people. And so somebody tell you that they done stuck they foot up your neck or wherever that foot went,
Mm-hmm.
and you ain't courageous enough to get that foot, that knee off your neck, shame on you.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, that don't have no personal benefit, because I'm part of the collective.
Yes.
When our people benefit, I'm going to benefit. That's what we have to push for, collective benefit. And let me just say this before we get off the air.
Yes, ma'am.
People say, we might need a Black mayor, and we might just do, I don't know. But I tell you what, we can't need one when it's convenient for that candidate to walk into the room. Because
Yes.
you cannot see outcry and pain of your people and don't open your mouth. We can't say that we need a nonprofit to be developed in our community, but the nonprofit is only able to produce job fairs, but no real damn jobs.
Yes.
No, we cannot BS. We ain't in a season of BSing. We got to be about our business. If not, then we just have to tell our young people to do the best you can. Do the best you can. Go out there, because we failed you. The Heritage Foundation had been working for the last 60 plus years to undo all of the work of the civil rights movement. And guess what? They won. So for 60 years, they've been working, and for 60 years, we've been line dancing. For 60 years, we was believing that in these people's heart, they wouldn't dare do that. For 60 years, we thought the voting rights was protected. For 60 years, we thought that the culture and the beautiful, excellent, Black excellence would be rewarded. And the way Black folks are telling our story and motivating our people. These folks say they don't want none of it. They don't want it in their museums. They don't want their children, their white children, to have to read any of it. So they have removed and continue to remove us out of existence, to now where we can almost say that 5 years from now, Black faces won't show up in the city of Tampa in terms of a living environment. And so with that, I can see very easily that seat being a non-Black seat with no representation.
Wow. Wow. And I tell you, Sister Connie Burton, I have never heard one thing that you have said that have not came to pass. You lay it out, you say it. Uh, People may not hear it at the time, but it comes to pass. I remember us over at Central Park when they were going to have all these jobs for African American men, and they had a line wrapped around those men was going to get jobs. They were excited. I remember, I think they had a helicopter up in the air. The guys had their paperwork, they had their ID, they had everything. And when it was time for those jobs, I remember us going over there. We rode by, we did all the things, and we could count on one hand how many African American, how many Black men got jobs. Not just there. I remember us going over on Main Street looking for African American Black folk, Black men getting jobs. Did not see any of them in reference to getting a job. And it's a shameful, God, that I'm not sure who changed the language, who allowed the language to be changed. I don't know if it had to be a vote on the language to be changed, to change it to a resolution 344. I just need you to speak to that one, sis, because I know you have a busy day and you are in demand in our community from one end to the next, because everyone knows your value in this community. Everyone knows your value in this community. Language was changed. Who changed the language and who approved the language for resolution now 344?
So this is the way they have, kind of snowballed it. In 568, it says that the 568 resolution talk about declaring support for the creation of a resolution commission. So the creation of a resolution commission, 568 said we want to do it. 344 say we did it. 568 say we want to do it. 344 says this is now the loose language of 344. But like I said, sister, I know a shell game when I see one.
Yeah.
And so we can call it whatever, a pocketbook, a purse can be called a pocketbook, a handbag. It could be from Prada, Louis Vuitton. It's still a pocketbook. Okay. The damage, harm that was done, and I kind of like tried to give them grace, considering the period in which we are living. You can't say Black folks. You can't say you're doing this to help them. I have attempted to be, conscious of that. But when I'm in a meeting, it's clear. When I'm going to city council, it should be extra clear after going for 20 years. I'm talking about Black folks. I'm talking about repairing damage for Black folks. If poor white people, just like during the civil rights movement, that was poor, living bad. I remember seeing a documentary where Kennedy was going all up in the hills of Kentucky, all talking to poor white people all in Mississippi, trying to get them come on board of the civil rights movement, and they didn't want no parts of it. So if there's poor people in this city that believe that the transgressions that was done to poor people and to Black people in particular, come and help us lift the boat. Because they say high tides, raise all boats, right? And maybe your boat get lifted. But your boat at this time, when you all have all the powers to be, from the presidential, all the way to all of the congressional, to all of the Supreme Court, should you all expect us to take a seat back and not advocate for us? We have a responsibility, a duty, and a right that if you change the resolution to say 123 000, it wouldn't matter. The condition speaks for itself. And that is where our focus should be on correcting the conditions that was harmed by policy makers. And the policy makers right now is the mayor and the council.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it should be.
Mm-hmm.
The administration and the council.
Mm-hmm. I want to say thank you so much, Sister Connie Burton, for coming on with me this morning, Tea and Conversation Live, and discussing with us 568, that's Resolution 568. She laid out some history for us this morning. Those that are just coming in, you're definitely welcome to listen to the entire live, the entire video of Sister Connie Burton here in our community. Sister, if you have any last comments, I want to definitely make sure everyone knows that the local NAACP will be having their candidates forum District 5 for a special election. It is this Monday, August 18th at 6 p.m. Doors open at 5:30 p.m. It's at Middleton High School, and that's 4801 North 22nd Street. Make sure that you get there early. Make sure that you get there early. I think they will be having a straw poll as well. Correct, Connie?
I believe so.
Okay,
I'm
I
not
think
sure.
so.
That has always been kind of like their mandate. But I want to thank you, sister, for just really pushing that form, and definitely, because it is the NAACP,
Yes.
and the NAACP has been on the forefront. Probably was one of the first to have this type of political engagement, right?
Yes.
We know, and it ain't no secret, that NAACP leadership is under attack here locally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I would just tell people to be very cautious on how you hit your wagon to what voices. That as we see, the NAACP has stood the test of time. It is our oldest civil rights organization, probably the only one left that's doing the real work. If it's something that, and it's based off of volunteers.
Yes.
Come and join to make it better. Join to make it be what you want to be. But if you're on the sideline, amening as the bricks is being thrown at the window, then you the problem too. We can change anything in this community. I'm a member of the NAACP. I believe I have an independent, strong voice, but an independent, strong voice don't move nothing. It is when we are collectively organized. That's how we win. When we're organized, we win. We don't win nothing by ourselves. We win as a group. As a group. Yeah. If you go by yourself, they're going to get your hog tied in some foolishness. Go as a group. Advocate for your people, and then you'll be all right.
Absolutely. We have one question from the floor here, Connie, and I think it's important. That's why I want to, if I can hold you for 2 more minutes. And it's from Brother Herbert Floyd. He wants to know, how do you stay motivated? Yes.
Well, I'm going to just tell you this. I've lost a lot. And I've gained so much more. I have, financially, I've lost jobs. I've lost, people say, opportunity. People have asked me to come on board and get on their team and pretty much be quiet, don't say anything. But for me, it has been like this whisper in my ear and in my heart that says, the creation and the beauty of all people have something of value to add. You have a responsibility, Connie. This is what it speaks to me, to ensure that the work of our people, light is not dimmed. So
Mm.
every morning I kind of like get up and I thank the creator, and then immediately behind that I thank the ancestors, because it
Yes.
had not been for their work and the things that I can keep in my mind to show that we are not alone. We are not
Mhm.
alone. This ain't brand new. We've done this before. We have conquered greatness. We are of great heritage. I mean, I just believe divinely. Um, the Bible says that it is based off the sole of our bronze feet and to the wool of our beautiful hair that creation
Mm.
started. And so that is what keep me motivated, is that we was created to be great, to do great things, and that's what I'm responsible for carrying out. I thank him for
Wow.
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I can tell, just because I've been around you so long, that that was a joy for you to even say that. It
Mhm.
was a spark in your eye saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love you so much. I love you so much, sister. Yeah. Yeah. I want to say thank you so much. And thank you, everyone that came on this morning, Tea and Conversation Live. That concludes this broadcast this morning. And thank you so much, sister, again. And we will see everyone this coming week. We will have a number of our candidates will be on Tea and Conversation Live at 7:30 a.m. and also 8:30 a.m. I will have the list of all of the candidates that I have already reached out to. We have about 8 of them already have taken up a time slot. So I look forward to having them on, and I look forward to everyone coming on. And also, do not forget the NAACP political forum candidates for District 5. That is this Monday. That's August 18th. It's going to be at Middleton High School. Doors open at 5:30 p.m. The forum starts at 6, and they are timely. So make sure you get there and get your seat um, in a timely manner. And also parking. Make sure you get there early so you're not parking so far back, because I'm sure it's going to be a full house. Again, thank you so much, Tampa Bay, and I look forward to seeing you on the next Tea and Conversation Live. Thank you.